in 2024, Notre Dame shocked the world by losing to NIU, and then after that, not quitting and marching all the way to the national championship game, where they lost to an on-fire Ohio State team by only 11 points. 1 point was 31-7. They mounted a comeback where they scored 16 unanswered points, 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions, showed a lot of fight. Ohio State was just the better team at the end, but there's a lot of promise for Notre Dame entering this season, and I think especially looking beyond that with how they recruit and with how young this team is. When I take a deeper look, I lift up the hood and look at Notre Dame, this is a program that reminds me a lot of the surrounding Midwest schools. So I think that their offensive line reminds me of the old Wisconsin lines. No coincidence that former Wisconsin O-line coach Joe Rudolph is Notre Dame's offensive line coach. I think that what they want to do at quarterback reminds me a little bit of Ohio State, with Mike Denbrock being one of the best in America, and now they've tried to recruit there and recruit highly there. They care about that quarterback position. At wide receiver, they remind me, in my mind, of Michigan State recently, where State has had some good underrated receivers with athleticism, and they're well coached there. And then I would say in terms of overall mindset of how they want to function, reminds me a lot of Michigan, where you have some explosiveness, you have some NFL guys on the outside, and you have NFL depth, but at the end of the day, you want to bully people. You don't want to just run around people and exhaust them, although that's helpful. You want to bully them, and you want to out-physical them, and you want to play, tough, hard-nosed, hard-hitting defense. And that's what Notre Dame does. And that's why I think that even with all they lose, they're only 61st in returning production, returning 56% of their production from 2024 to 2025. And then they're 5th in S&P Plus preseason with a 26.4 S&P Plus rating. It's why I think even with all they lose, they still have to be put in that national championship contender conversation, and certainly college football playoff conversation. Before we resume this segment, please take a few seconds of your time to make sure you have liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and for any team podcasts and playlists linked in the description, and also comment your thoughts down below in the comment section and join my Discord server via the description. All of those things I just asked you to do are completely free, and they sign you up for things related to my channel, or they don't sign you up for anything. No cost to you, and all the benefit to you because we release daily college football content here on College Football with Sam. If you want to support the channel monetarily, sign up for a YouTube membership, or check any other links in the description for my merchandise store and Patreon page. Thank you very much, and let's get back to the segment. They can go 12-0. I think this team can also go 9-3. Maybe even 8-4 if a lot doesn't work out for the Irish. And that's because, looking at their schedule, they have to play, at Miami. They have to play Texas A&M at home, Purdue at home, Arkansas on the road. This is weeks 1. They have a bye in week 2, and then week 3, 4, and 5. That's the A&M, Purdue, and Arkansas run. Boise State, they host week 6. NC State week 7's at home. USC at home week 8. They get a bye in week 9, play at Boston College week 10. Navy, they host week 11. Pittsburgh, they play at week 12. Syracuse at home, and then they play at Stanford in week 14. Schedule's 38th per FPI. There are plenty of losable games here, especially with some questions at quarterback. Carr's coming off of an injury. I assume he's going to start there, but you never know with, him and Kenny Minchie battling it out there. And they had to go to the portal a little bit for the defensive line, and I think that they lack some depth and lack some size there. But I love their running back, wide receiver, and offensive line groups, and then their defensive backfield and overall depth and culture is really, really admirable. I have Notre Dame kind of classified with the ACC for my predictions. So looking at my All-ACC team, I have C.J. Carr representing Notre Dame at quarterback, Jeremiyah Love and Jadarian Price there, Ashton Craig at center, Billy Scruath, and Charles Jagasaw at guard. It sounds like Jagasaw is going to play, even with his injury, for part of the season. Probably not the whole season, but at least for part of it. Huge unfortunate blow that they lost him. Emil Wagner and Anthonie Knapp and Sullivan Absher at tackle. I have Malachi Fields, Jaden Greathouse, and Jordan Faison at wide receiver there. My All-ACC and All-Conference teams in general are a little bit larger than many others' teams, but that doesn't mean that I'm listing average players there. Eli Raridon represents Notre Dame at tight end. I have Gabriel Rubio at D tackle, Joshua Burnham, Jordan Botelho, and Junior Tuhalamaka at edge. I have Drake Bowen and Jalen Sneed at linebacker, Luke Talich and Adon Schuler at safety, and Leonard Moore, Devonta Smith, and Christian Gray at corner. This is a loaded roster, and it is a team that has questions, but overall is going to be solid. Nonetheless, I am picking Notre Dame boldly to lose those 3 games and actually to miss the college football playoff. Now, I'm expecting a lot of pushback here, but I think that Miami on the road week 1, that's a challenge for sure, going into an environment with facing off against a team that has a more experienced QB. And then A&M's a lot more experienced than Notre Dame as well. Arkansas on the road is not going to be a joke this early because they're not going to quit yet, and they have a good QB. Boise State's experienced. USC nearly beat Notre Dame last year when they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And USC, while they lose about as much as Notre Dame does, they had a lot going wrong for them last year, and USC had a lot going right for them last year. So regression to the mean says USC and Notre Dame are going to converge, whereas Notre Dame was the better team than USC last year, obviously. Boston College on the road. Should be an easy win, but Boston College has some solid trench players, and there's enough road games and weird spots and then enough big games to where I think that Notre Dame is going to lose some games here, especially since that early part of the schedule, you play 4 Power 4 teams, and 2 of them are preseason top 10. And Arkansas, by the metrics, is top 40. According to FPI, top 25, although I think that's a bunch of crap. And then Boise State is probably a top 30, top 25 caliber team. So if Notre Dame plays down to competition, as they have at points under Freeman, and with the coordinator change, and with the losses up front, injury to Jagasaw, and the loss of depth to the portal at O-line, and then just the loss of all their starters on the D-line, starters in terms of who played the most snaps last year at D-tackle, D-end, etc., I think some losses are due. Now, it's bold. I think Notre Dame's most likely record prediction is probably 10-2 or 9-3. Don't think it's any worse than that. And I think that 12-0 is more likely than 7-5, and 11-1 is more likely than 8-4. I just think that Notre Dame earned a lot of turnovers last year. They lose Xavier Watts, who was, I think, the heartbeat of their defense. I think that Al Golden was super underrated as someone who, for the longest time, didn't believe in him. And therefore, you're going to see regression at multiple points. And instead of being an 11-1 team last year that could have gone 10-2, could have gone 12-0, if all their close games went wrong for them, A&M, NIU, and USC, they could have gone 9-3. I think you're going to see some of that regression there on top of some teams on their schedule improving from where they were last year. Like USC and A&M are familiar opponents for Notre Dame. They played them last year. They play them again this year. Both should be better, if not much better than where they were last year. And Notre Dame, by returning production, should technically be worse. Some predictions specifically for Notre Dame on a Scoville scale, so a mild prediction for Notre Dame, all the way up to a hellfire prediction for Notre Dame. My mild one is that their offensive line's a top 5 O-line in college football. This is even factoring in the Jagasaw injury. He'll probably be back. If not, I trust Joe Rudolph to have a replacement ready for him. My medium prediction is that the Irish field a great wide receiver core, and Malachi Fields gets 1,000 receiving yards, at least, if not more. He's been getting some first-round buzz. I think C.J. Carr or Kenny Minchey will be a better thrower of the football than Riley Leonard was. Maybe not have the same pocket presence, but that will not impact Malachi Fields getting 1,000 receiving yards unless every team they face all year somehow gets pressure on whoever the starting QB is, likely Carr, and I don't think that'll happen with how elite Notre Dame's O-line is. My scorching prediction, well, before we get to that, my hot prediction, is that Notre Dame exits the month of September with a 2-2 record. So they will already be in danger of missing the playoffs at the end of September. You can probably gauge who my predicted losses for Notre Dame are between Miami, A&M, Purdue, and Arkansas, but I'll let you continue to guess. My scorching prediction is that Chris Ash and Notre Dame part ways after the end of the year. I think that was a little bit of a panic move, and I don't think that Notre Dame had, just based off recent history, I don't think they had the budget at DC that Penn State or Ohio State did. So I don't think, therefore, they could get the options that I think would have fit better than Ash. I'm not high on the Ash hire at all, by the way. I'm just not. Like, I think that Ohio State, for example, with Matt Patricia, it's an intriguing hire, and it's one that could work out well, but to deny that that couldn't just blow up in their face is lunacy. I don't think that will. Ash is different because Ash doesn't have the same reputation Patricia does, and Notre Dame does not have the same talent on defense that Ohio State does. So that has an even greater chance of blowing up with Notre Dame and doesn't have the same chances working out that, let's say, Patricia with Ohio State does. So I think that Notre Dame will be in the market for a new DC entering 2026. My Hellfire prediction is that Notre Dame misses the college football playoffs despite being a top 12 caliber team. This is a team that, if we were doing a meritocratic college football playoff, I think would make it based on power ratings. But that's not how it is, and I don't know if that's exactly how it should be in terms of meritocratic power ratings. You should probably have a meritocratic playoff in terms of resume and strength of record, not necessarily how much Vegas thinks you would beat the average team on a neutral field by, if you catch what I'm saying. I'm picking Notre Dame towards the lower end of their spectrum of outcomes, but I'm excited to watch this team, and I do think in 2026 they will return a lot of these young, athletic players, probably upgrade their coaching staff, and make a run at the national championship then. I think this is going to be a down cycle. It's going to be a valley in between two mountains. I think the 24 season, great mountain type season where you reach the peak of what you can do. I think there's going to be some regression, and then in 2026 they're going to shoot to get back towards the mountaintop. Don't know if they'll finish on top of it, but I think they'll be in better contention to do so. Thank you for watching College Football with Sam. Make sure that you've liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and team playlists and podcasts in the description. Join the free Discord server where we talk college football 24/7, and have commented your thoughts down below. Check out the description for any ways you can support the channel monetarily. Everything else I've asked you to do is completely free, and your support means the world to me. We're trying to become the next big thing on college football YouTube. 6-figure subscribers, maybe 1 million one day. I think we can do that. And also check out any videos or playlists, anything in these columns right here, where there will be videos and playlists. Yeah, you get the point. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.